Okay, so this is part 2, and we're going to talk about the Anja center, which is the second triangle down that's upside down. This center is responsible for thoughts and questions, but like also information. So if your Anja center is open like this, meaning that it's white, you are the type of person who tends to see things from a bird's eye view. You tend to see the entire board, meaning that when a question comes in, it gets amplified in your head. And so you kind of mull it over. And in that process, you discover 2 different perspectives and you understand both perspectives. Now, a lot of times this can work to your detriment because you are about fairness and understanding, and you look for that deeper meaning. A lot of times you can come off very indecisive. But it's not that you're indecisive, it's that you have a deep understanding of how all sides feel. But if your Anja center looks like this and is defined, basically it's just designed to hold information. And you typically have a fixed way of thinking about stuff, meaning that it usually doesn't change over time. But what's very interesting about this is when a defined Anja meets an open Anja, there's an energy exchange because a defined Anja is going to be sending out information where a open Anja is going to be receiving information. So what happens in this exchange is the defined Anja will have a question, and as soon as this open Anja gets within 6 feet of them, which is the amount of distance that you need to be in somebody's auric field. That's why in COVID they had it separated. But within 6 feet, you are in someone's auric field. So that question will now deposit into that open person's head. And they may spend the rest of the day mulling over this question that does not even belong to them. But another interesting thing is if you have a defined Anja and you have a child with an open Anja, a lot of times that child will feel pressure to be consistent, but it's because they're constantly in your auric field and you are consistent. So without awareness of this, that kid can even end up resenting you and feel like you're putting all this pressure on them that doesn't even exist. So next, let's talk about the throat chakra, which is this white square underneath it. The throat chakra is responsible for manifestation and communication. People who have an open throat chakra usually make really good motivational speakers, teachers, therapists. The reason being is they have multiple different ways of communicating. They usually end up being people who learn multiple languages. They don't have just one communication style. They can appeal to several different people. But a lot of times people with an open throat center feel pressure to speak, meaning that if y'all are in onboarding at work and they ask the crowd a question, you will feel a pressure to respond. They also tend to be really good at impersonations. Now, if the throat center is colored in like this, is defined, which means that you have a fixed way of speaking about things. But the way you do that determines on what it's connected to. If the defined throat is connected to the Anja, then you may speak your mind. If the defined throat is connected to your emotions, you may speak about your feelings or be good about speaking about your feelings. So if you are defined and your partner is open, a lot of times the argument is, I don't understand why they won't open up about their feelings.